Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and salutations of much love to the rest of you sincere Akim, pushing the word in truth and sincerity. This is the Cleric Azar coming at you with another lesson. I'm continuing in my lot to bring you my ongoing series from Excerpts of Hollywood, This Factory of Perverseness. Another observation of predictive programming, how art imitates life and vice versa. Just a reminder, the purpose of my videos is to show correlations. A correlation is an observation of a mutual relationship or connection between two or more things. I use movies to extract or extrapolate a narrative. I'm not glorifying the Hollywood culture or life. I have a wide knowledge of films, whether they be foreign or domestic, and I just use them as an example to bring out those similarities and those correlations. To quote Cecil B. DeMille, the greatest source of material for motion pictures is the Bible. I call this lesson, this 304 culture will be over soon. Okay. And Salaki, I'm just typing it in here because I just, through the spirit, came up with this title. Basically, this does not even have anything to do with movies or television. In a way, it does, I should say, because basically, this particular group, HWA, came out in the late 80s. And everyone's talking about this 304 culture. Let me tell you, look at a brief synopsis if you're not familiar with 304 culture. If you, and I didn't know either, I'm an old head. I'm up there in age, but I've watched a lot of different videos, and basically a lot of women are coming out and explaining how this 304 culture is kind of backfired. It's kind of waking up a lot of men to the basically it's exposed women on their true intentions. Not all women. I mean, some women, they got together, but such a small few that have an idea what their role is meant to be. And even when I was in the world, a lot of people like to talk about some of the female rap. And I mean, there was even Edomite women that was coming out with certain songs that were really promiscuous and so forth. But anyway, let me go and explain you what this 304 is. If you take the 304 and you put it into a calculator and turn it upside down, you get the word what it is. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was an area code. But basically, back in the mid 90s, a lot of people were giving props, the Lil Kims and the Foxy Browns. And I was in the world, and I was like, well, why doesn't anyone ever talk about HWA? And I guess a lot of people don't really remember, but HWA was came out around the late 80s. And if you were living around that time, this kind of culture really wasn't picking off or taking off the way it needed to. And keep in mind, the HWA wasn't on no little small label. They were on Ruthless Records under Eazy-E and NWA. Okay. And boy, Eazy really had a sense of what was going on in the future, because he knew where it was headed. But it was so interesting. I mean, I remember even watching 2 Live Crew and saying, "Oh, this stuff will never pick up," Or I remember watching Too Short saying this stuff will never pick up, and next thing you know, Too Short is still around to this day. Okay. Hey, but they say the oldest living profession is women selling themselves. Okay, but let me go into this little history on this particular group, HWA. If you don't know what HWA is, Pose with Attitude, as you can see in the, I think this is a single that I found online. But these 3 members came together in 1989, and they secured an independent label from this Drive-By Records to record their first album. It was called Living in a Hoe House. And the album wasn't a success, but it only made it 38 on the top R&B hip-hop albums chart. That's not really too bad, but compared to today. But the group became known for its sexually explicit lyrics, and they were soon signed to Eazy-E's Ruthless Records, as I briefly mentioned. Now, their second album, As Much As Did You Want, was even less of a success and only reached 71 on top R&B hip-hop albums chart. And they also made a cameo in the Eazy-E video, Real MFGs. And this particular single here that I'm displaying was released in 1993. And keep in mind, if you go into these dates, this is all pre-Lil Kim. This is all pre-Foxy Brown. Okay. And this single was called All That, Just a Little Action. and it received a generous amount of airtime due to Eazy-E. And then they released a remix album in '94 called "I Ain't No Lady," and then the group disbanded. Okay, and I didn't know just recently, as far as 2012, April, they got back together, but I'm not sure what they've done at this time. But the reason why I'm bringing this out is because this whole 304 culture really has taken off in recent years. And I don't really want to go into the reasoning why, but ultimately it's the words of the Heavenly Father saying that He was going to do this. Okay, and how do we know that? Well, let's go into the book of Amos, chapter 7, verse 17. Okay, Amos chapter 7, verse 17. It reads, "Therefore, thus saith the Lord, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land. And Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of his land." Now, I got to constantly remind myself of this. And this is another reason why we don't really have a woman in this thing of ours. All right, because and I did a lesson about this maybe a week or so ago, about Eve will have reverence in the kingdom. If you go into reverence, that's respect. Okay. And the way Esau Edom is set up, this particular system, she has all the options in the world, and she has the laws that are backing her to have her do the things she wants to do. And this all goes back to Eve in the garden. If you look back to that particular story, Satan had basically, or the devil had told Eve, basically, she could do whatever she wanted. She didn't have to follow the rules or the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father. Okay, and so she went ahead and listened to him instead of listening to the Heavenly Father, and ultimately Adam that was there, and she was the helpmeet for Adam. Okay, all right, and also part of this punishment is, hey, this whoredom or this whorish attitude that the woman has today is part of the punishment or the curses as stated in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Because since the Israelites, you blacks, Native Americans, Latinos, in your previous lives, we went off against the Heavenly Father and did what we wanted to do instead of following His direction. Okay, so it's part of the punishment, and part of it is also that the Heavenly Father's not going to punish these women for acting the way they are, because He wants the Israelites to, especially the Israelite man, to understand how he felt. Okay, let's go to the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 14. Hosea chapter 4, verse 14. It reads, "I will not punish your daughters when they commit whoredom, nor your spouses when they commit adultery. For themselves are separated with whores, and they sacrifice with harlots. Therefore the people that doth not understand shall fall." And who's the people that didn't understand that fell? That was the Israelites. Okay, the nation of Israel. All right, and that's why we're in the situation we're in today. And as you can see in Amos chapter 7, verse 17, we're dying in a polluted land, and we're also dying by that sword. And who was given the sword? Esau Edom. Okay, and just check something real here. It's just the state of our people that we're in currently. And like I said, it's just part of that punishment. All right. But pretty soon, according to Isaiah 4:1, some of these women that are in their right mind, they're going to be looking for, well, a lot of women are going to be looking for a man to take care of them. Because when this banking system collapses and this MOTB is established, it's going to be a lot of chaos out there. All right, and some women are going to fold and go ahead and take it, but there's only going to be so much limited food and water that, it's going to be quite scarce out here. Okay, it's going to be a famine of word, but it's also going to be a real famine in real life. Okay, and these women are going to be almost used as currency, and they're going to be used themselves. Their bodies are going to be used. Okay, and some of them are going to be raped and killed. And so a lot of women don't want to go through that, even though, their fantasy is to be raped. But there was a saying in Running Man, when the girl was looking at Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, and she goes, "Oh my God, what if he raped you and killed you, or killed you and raped you?" You know, so the way she was saying it, you know, she was getting really into it. All right, but ultimately, a lot of women aren't going to turn from their ways, along with some men as well. But you know, specifically these women in this particular culture, and you know, basically selling their bodies and so forth. It's going to get played out real soon. Okay, and they're going to forget. They're going to go back to their ultimate role and being the helpmeet to the man. Okay, let's go to the book of Hosea chapter 5 verse 4. Hosea chapter 5 verse 4, and it reads, "They will not frame their doings to turn unto their power, for the spirit of whoredoms is in the midst of them, and they have not known the Lord." Okay, but I'm going to end it on this, because I always like to end my videos on a good note with some type of silver lining, and there is light in the end of the tunnel. So in other words, there is a happy ending. This woman's going to be reminded that she was made for the man. How do we know that? Well, let's go in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11, and we're going to start at verse 8, reading all the way down to verse 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 8, for it reads, "For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man." Okay, clear cut. Okay, and even after Eve went off in the kingdom, when Eve went off in the Garden of Eden, you know, that part of the punishment that she was going to have a husband that's going to rule over her. When you read Genesis chapter 3 verse 16, it reads, "Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee." Okay, so, and these women are going to know, hey, you're made for the man. The man wasn't made for you. All right, the man came first, and then you came out of him. All right, to be a helpmeet. All right, and that's what's going to be happening real soon when when all hell breaks loose in Jacob's trouble. Okay, so we're going to go back to what they were made for. Okay, but they're going to learn the hard way. Okay, and this whole 304 culture is going to be done with. Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to share that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, who gives me the strength and the spirit to continue to strive and endure in these last days. Shalom to the hopeful elect, and on to the next video.